You are the ruler of the universe. You can completely obliterate one brand that you think is no longer worthy of existing and introduce a completely new one of your own. Which one is it going to be this time?
I'd like to use that question, and I think it's not a total irrelevance to talk about something that is very hot in my mind at the moment. Because the marketing of savings products is probably the country's most shameful example of dire marketing and dire branding. And the more I think about it, the more irresponsible it is and how dangerous it is. Because I mean, everybody agrees that if we're going to have a reasonably comfortable later life, we can't rely on company pensions, we can't rely on national pensions, we've got to do some saving. So what bloody happens? One government introduces things which nobody really understands, called PEPs and TESSs, which are pretty confusing anyway, but quite soon you begin to be familiar with, or slightly familiar with those names, which is the beginning of a brand. I mean, one of the first things of a brand, of course, is that it is familiar to us. The next government, of course, what does it do? Comes in, gets rid of PEPs and TESSs and introduces something called ISAs. That's bad enough. I mean, that is the equivalent of the marketing director of KitKat changing the name once to something else. I mean, you destroy such tentative bits of comprehension and loyalty and familiarity that have been up. Then in come the companies that market these PEPs and TESSs, and what do? They start with one name, then they merge with another company, and blow me down, they change the name of the PEP and the TESSA. And I've got in my file, I've got the names of 6 different financial savings companies. And in fact, there are only 2. There are 2 of them, and they've changed the name 3 times. So I have no idea what these things are. When they write to me, expecting me to be loyal to them, I don't know where they come from. So I'm coming back to that question. I think the lamentable state of savings marketing and branding really does demonstrate how crucial good marketing is to consumers, not just to producers. Because we have all been denied in the savings market clear, strong brands, competitively offered and transparently offered and consistently offered, so that if you quite like what you've got, you can go back and get it again. I mean, no FMCG client would behave in the insane way that these people have done. They wouldn't change everything. They wouldn't change the name. You know, if you get one company, if Nestle takes over Roundtree, they don't change the name of KitKat, because that's the value of what they bought.
Premium bonds, kind of national savings.
Yes. Yeah, I'm really thinking of these tax-free savings schemes, which have pretty difficult names generated presumably by the Treasury, not by marketing people. I mean, people who think backwards from consumers would never start with maxi ISAs and mini ISAs and cash ISAs. This is a financial, probably quite brainy financial person, but there's no help. I mean, if marketing is supposed to be satisfying, understanding consumers and satisfying them, there is nothing about the development of those brands that shows that the consumer has been given the slightest thought at all. So I would, and I mean, I do think it's a serious personal problem for a lot of people and a serious national problem, because it has great economic effect. So I would get rid of all these deeply bewildering, changing on a sort of daily basis things, and do a wonderful brand, competitive, lots of them, but just say, what is it that people would be able to get their heads around in terms of savings products? How can you name them? How can you position them? How can you promote them? How can you demonstrate consistency so that you begin to trust them? The big trust word. Nobody trusts anything at the moment. And then, you know, in the same market, you get something that nobody understood in the first place, called split caps. Split caps turn out to be a total fraud. And they're allowed to be a fraud because nobody understood them in the first place. I mean, the language is
well, you're right, and that's how bearings happens, of course, because
yeah.
no one understands
yeah.
what's going on.
So, I mean, I'm at the moment fascinated by that marking because I think it demonstrates through absence just how powerfully positive and valuable brands and marketing can be, not to the producers, promoters only, but to the users, the consumers. And the remarkable James Herb Young of JWT, he used to write a regular column in the House magazine, and the subtitle of the James Herb column was "The best books about advertising are not about advertising." Absolutely true.